come from another place. What else can you do? You may or may not know, I've seen a few of you snap pictures while we were here. How many of you are taking a picture while you're just sitting here today? Some of you, all right. So, unless you went into your camera, if your camera's a phone, unless you went into your camera and turned off the metadata, then all of that data that rides on your phone also won't embed on your photograph. What can I learn from that? Well, what I can learn is this. So, let's pretend that this is a family from this town, from our community, and let's pretend that I call the local news station. Give me a station that you watch here. WTVJ. You watch TVJ from here? Who do you watch from here? Who? PBF. You watch WPBF. So I'm going to call WPBF and I'm going to say, hey, here's a family, and they're being held hostage in Honduras. And this was a picture of them this morning, taken by the rebel forces who are holding them in Honduras. Wouldn't you like that photo? And we go like, oh my God, yes, I want that picture. Because that's a great story, right? I mean, I don't wish them any harm, but it's a great story. Turns out this is me and my wife and 2 of our kids. And so, what I want to know is, where was this picture taken? When was this picture taken? And I don't want to spend more than 30 seconds finding that out. All I got to do, in this case, I'm going to draw the photo into Photoshop, but if you don't have Photoshop, there are other places. I'll show you. I'm just going to go File, then File Info, and up will pop the metadata. So I can see that it was captured on an iPhone 4S. And if I go down to GPS data, I can see the latitude and longitude, also the date and time that the photograph was captured. So all I got to do is take that latitude and longitude, drop it into Google Maps, and I can find exactly where that photo was. It wasn't in Honduras. It was on the border of Nicaragua and Costa Rica while we were on vacation a few years ago. So it turns out that we know exactly where that photo was because of the metadata that was embedded on that photograph. So anytime you capture a digital image, there's metadata that will ride on that image unless you overtly go in and take it out. Now, can you change it? Absolutely. You can alter the metadata. But most people would have no idea how to do that. Nor would they want to take the time to do that. They don't care. But the really freaky thing is that when your kid sends you a picture and you pull the metadata and say, why are you at Walmart? That's when they freak out, right? Well, I wasn't at Walmart. Yes, you were. 12:15. You were supposed to be in school. What's up with that? Yeah. So it's really simple to do. All right. If you do not have Photoshop, what can you do? You can use Jeffrey's EXIF Viewer. Just remember Jeffrey's Viewer. That's all you got to remember. You don't have to remember the URL. Just Google Jeffrey's Viewer. This is an extraordinary tool. So what you do with Jeffrey's Viewer is you just drop in the image into this website. It's a website. So here's how quickly it works. We're going to go File. So we're going to do View Image from File. Let's just upload an image from my desktop. So we'll just click an image, and it loads. Say View Image, and there it is. It'll tell you when the photograph was taken. It'll tell you the latitude and longitude. It'll tell you where that address maps to, Reunion Boulevard, West Dallas, Texas. It'll tell you the altitude where I was. But more importantly, it'll tell you that I was at the Hyatt Regency Dallas, faced in the southwesterly direction when I took that photograph. And it will tell you that it was changed in Photoshop, and it will even tell you what changed as part of this. All of this metadata is riding with that image. You're worried about the wrong things. You're worried about NSA. It's Facebook you ought to be worried about. Because why? Every image you upload to social media, they keep your social data. Now let's just think about that for a second. You're worried about privacy. You're on Facebook. Virtually all of you are on Facebook. Facebook sends you an email every once or sends you a little notice on the top of your newsfeed. This was you 4 years ago. And my first reaction is, well, that's nice. But your real reaction should be, that's creepy. They kept this for 4 years to give to me today. They know. What the hell They keep every single image that you upload, every video, everything you write, every single digit you write. And by the way, it's theirs. The terms of use are, it's theirs. More than that, they have an extraordinarily sophisticated facial recognition system. So when I put up a picture of Elaine, it's going to say, gosh, is this Elaine Whitman? And I'll say, yes. And I'll go, I thought so. And it just adds that to its gathering of Elaine pictures. So it can start sending you images a year from now. Remember when you were with Elaine? Yeah, I remember that. See what happens? It's both scary and wonderful at the same time, isn't it? I mean, on the one hand, it's kind of cool. On the other hand, it's kind of creepy. But it's the navigation that we run through now. So where does all this come back to journalism? We use it all the time as journalists. So here you are, one of you decides to break bad and get wrestled to the floor by one of the security officers. We all got pictures of it, and they'll go, oh, that was Lauren. Yeah, I knew she was going to break one of these times, you know. And here's a picture of her last time. She was here complaining. And so we'll start pulling pictures of her because we'll be able to match those images. No problem. All right. If you want to know, for example, what's changed in a Photoshopped image, drop it into a website called Photoforensics, F-O-T-O, Photoforensics. And it'll just show you what has changed in that image. In this case, I just enhanced the image. All right. You can embed metadata on digital video too. How would you use this? Well, if, for example, tonight I mailed a picture to my wife, and I said, hi, honey, here's my hotel in Miami. And she says, honey, you're not in Miami. You're in Chicago. I can tell because of the metadata on this image. That's not the Miami hotel. How do you know that? Well, because I put it into RevEye and I found out that it's in Chicago. So we can use this for truth telling. Where was that image? Here's the problem. The problem is this fake information moves very, very, very quickly. In fact, it moves much faster than truth telling. These are all headlines, real headlines. Justin Timberlake explains why he's moving to Owensboro, Kentucky. Now, I grew up in Kentucky, so I was particularly interested in this. Owensboro is well known for its barbecue. But Justin Timberlake apparently doesn't eat barbecue. None of these are true. Clint Eastwood moving to Concord, Massachusetts. Tom Hanks explained why he's moving to Raleigh, North Carolina. All of these are completely fake. And why? Because there are hundreds, maybe thousands, maybe tens of thousands of fake websites that are constantly trying to lure you to repurpose, send along fake information. Why would they do that? I don't know, it's kind of fun. They kind of have a ball with it, but mostly it's to make fun of journalists. I don't know, it just seemed unlikely from the get-go, didn't it? And by the way, could they come up with a less flattering picture of her? I mean, possibly. This one actually got some traffic for a little while. Turned out the number wasn't 10. I'm kidding. These things get so much traffic, and the problem is that some people take them seriously. So there was this picture from Sam Weaving. Anybody know who Sam Weaving is? None of you? You're not cable fans. She's on Ash versus Evil, and she says amazing makeup for Ash versus Evil Dead, and so on. So it's all makeup for that. It's like an apocalypse show. It's like a Walking Dead thing. Yeah. Well, you can imagine what happened, right? Can you imagine what happened in this political climate? She was played as a Trump supporter who got beat up. And the internet went wild. Another example of how Democrats believe in freedom and your right to support the political candidate of your choice. And you wonder why I carry a gun. The violent, left-wing, vicious radicals. First of all, they shouldn't be capitalized. Have no idea what fascism is, should be capitalized. And you know, it's 90% likely. I don't know where they come up with the number, 90%. 90% likely it wasn't Bernie Sanders supporters who did this. Liberals, socialists, they're despicable, should have had a period there. So, these are real traffics. I mean, it's real. These are real traffic. And it's interesting how these things gather steam and nobody ever has to stand good for it. Yeah?
May I just ask, does Michael Haley and Dan, do they know they're doing that they're passing it on? We don't know.
I don't know. But here's the thing. We all watch what goes on social media with a certain filter, but we're affected by these things. And it's like, well, if they did get it, you know, it was a little wrong then, but mostly it's right. Mostly they get beat up by people. Mostly that's right. I mean, I've heard of that. Haven't you? I mean, I've heard of people getting beat up. Haven't you? You have, right? I have. Right? All I need is just one of you to go, yes, and I'm feeling good. You know? And then she says, I really hate it. In case you wonder where this next study is coming from, I just wanted you to see it. I've got 2 citations for this. University of Warwick, the National University of Defense Technology in China, and Indiana University. This is a real study. I'm not here to trick you. What I wanted you to see was this graphic. What they were trying to do is chart fake news, the spread of fake news versus the spread of fact-checking news. And was it your grandmother who said, bad news travels fast? So I thought that's who said that. And it turns out there's some reason to believe that fake news tends to move very, very, very quickly. So they took the fake versions of stories and compared it to the real versions of the same stories, and the real version spread much less than the fake versions. Interesting. This was actually an ad that got a lot of traffic, the I'm With Her ad. It's a pro-Hillary ad. But it turns out it's not a pro-Hillary ad. Who is this guy? Well, we're going to just take his picture and drop it into Rabbi, and we'll see that, you know, it's actually from him. This is just a standard, you can buy it for $5 photograph from Big Stop. And the same guy ends up doing hair gel and beard gel commercials. And I really thought this was interesting. He was also the syphilis ad. Portland. If you were a candidate, wouldn't you want the syphilis guy to be your guy? One of the ways for us to think about what we see on television is to think about what we're hearing all the time. And Robin and I have a particular distaste for the false urgency that takes over, especially local television. But now it's not just local television. You hear the phrase breaking news, developing now, happening right now. And the one that we used to hate the most is when they would make us go live in front of some place that nothing has happened there in 8 hours, you know. So the city council met this morning and we're still live at 6 o'clock, you know. These people all went home, but we're still here. This is, I edited this together just for you because I thought you would enjoy this one. ABC now has an urgency addicted to the word tonight. That every single sentence has the word tonight in it. After all, it's called world news. And they just want you to remember that. So raise your hand when you get sick of this, but this is an entire newscast edited down to about 15 seconds.
Tonight, the new outrage, Donald Trump in front of the cameras, giving out a rival's phone number. Also breaking tonight, we have 2...
Actually, when you hear the word tonight, say the word tonight out loud, okay?
Tonight, the new outrage, Donald Trump in front of the cameras, giving out a rival's phone number. Also breaking tonight, we have 2 new videos in that mysterious case. Look, one of those power lines right there, overheating in Old Bethpage, New York, a line of thunderstorms on the move tonight. ABC's Gio Benitez leads us off tonight with the pictures and the warning now about your car tires in the heat.
Tonight, extreme heat causing extreme danger. Tonight, the Good Samaritan speaking out.
I just did what I thought was right. It was just hit the window.
Where the heat is going to stay, too, and where it's worst tonight. You can play a little game here called Find the Cold Front. It's coming along with storms tonight.
That was the game we'd like to introduce tonight. Thank you. We turn now to the race for 2016 and Donald Trump making a new headline tonight, already under fire for saying John McCain is not a war hero. Tonight, feuding with another Republican contender, giving out his rival's private cell phone number on national TV. Tonight here, our Jonathan Carl with that phone number moment. And John Carl with us live again tonight. John, as you know, the ABC News Washington Post poll shows Trump surging into the lead. All right, John Carl studying the numbers tonight. John, thank you. Tonight we have new images from inside the...
Okay, you get the point. I mean, it's just like, give me a break, you know? Yeah, go ahead.
That's why they call it World News Tonight.
Yeah, I guess so. It'd be World News last night, otherwise, right? But they don't say morning for Good Morning America. They don't say today on the Today Show. I mean, you know, don't I get that he's there tonight? I mean, it says he's live. I'm guessing it's tonight that he's live, right? It wasn't last night. Anyway.
I'll never be able to watch.
All I'm trying, and by the way, did you notice we're also red, white, and blue? We're Americans. So, because we're the American Broadcasting Corporation, we're Americans. So, we're all Americans.
Tonight.
This is one of the more curious stories. This one is just one of the more curious stories. Ever since Obamacare, we've had these drones going over top of us. Have you noticed this? I'm joking. Here's the first of these stories. I'm going to show you a series of them as this unravels.
So, anybody think about Nebraska lately? Imagine you're a farmer or a rancher and you look up one day and you see this plane, and then a couple weeks later you get a note in the mail that says EPA has been flying overhead on your land and you have a discharge without permit letter. Well, anyway, this is what's happening. The EPA is flying overhead, spying basically on farmers and ranchers. They say they're doing, you know, regulation and checking to make sure. But there's a bipartisan coalition led by Senator Johans and Congressman Adrian Smith out there just to ask EPA, what in the world are you doing? And even, I think it's so bipartisan that even Bob is in solidarity wearing dark glasses.
My spy glasses because they're drones. They're flying overhead, not the same drones.
No, they're not. They're taking pictures.
No, they're drones. Listen, here's the problem with this. The FAA has a bill, the authorization bill, that's going to allow thousands of these things to fly over the United States. The idea to use drones that's used to catch terrorists in Asia and in the Middle East to fly over the United States to spy on people is one of the great invasions of privacy, whether they do it for farmers or they do it for anything else.
Okay, how many of you are angry right now? They're flying drones over your cows. And these are like missile-packing drones, right? Yeah?
Are they using drones because they're out of black helicopters?
Yeah. The helicopters are more expensive. So, then the story just keeps going.
When you use the word drone, what do you think of? You think terrorism. You think death from the sky.
Spying on our nation's farmers? Republican lawmakers demanding answers today after learning that the Environmental Protection Agency has been using aerial spy drones for years to spy on cattle ranchers. These are the same drones we use to track down Al-Qaeda terrorists flying over Nebraska and Iowa. You gotta picture yourself.
No, they're not. No, they're not. They're not flying military drones over Nebraska farmers. What are they flying? Well, they're flying something. What are they flying? Cessnas. Why are they doing that? Well, there are parts of this country that are very hard to get to. And EPA needs to monitor runoff into rivers and lakes and streams and stuff from farm fields and so on. And so for decades, they've been flying over farm fields to see where the stuff is running into waterways. That's true. They've been doing that for a long time because they can't drive there. Or if they did, it would take forever. Well, that doesn't seem like a terrible idea. So they're not Hellfire missile packing drones. Can you imagine how expensive it would be to fly one of these things? And by the way, I guess they'd have to fly them out of MacDill over in St. Pete, right? Oh, yeah, over in Tampa. So, how did they repeatedly said this on multiple programs? How did they correct it? With a high profile correction? By the way, as you can imagine, it goes all over the place.
Well, a clarification now. In a report we...
Not a correction.
Well, a clarification now. In a report we brought you roughly 2 weeks ago, we were reporting on the EPA conducting aerial surveillance over ranchers and farmers in the Midwest. We identified and discussed the aircraft as being unmanned drones. In fact, the EPA is flying these missions and taking pictures from manned air.
Something happened. What happened?
Well, a clarification now. In a report we brought you roughly...
She says, flying these missions from manned aircraft. We regret it. We regret the, what did she say? She did say error.
Well, a clarification now. In a report we brought you roughly 2 weeks ago, we were reporting on the EPA conducting aerial surveillance over ranchers and farmers in the Midwest. We identified and discussed the aircraft as being unmanned drones. In fact, the EPA is flying these missions and taking pictures from manned aircraft.
I don't think she said apologize. I'll have to go back and find it. So, these missions implies that there are, in fact, surveillance missions going on over your cows, but it's just a different kind of aircraft. It's still spotted. And they're still taking pictures, and it took a couple of weeks. Yeah. Despite the fact that there were congressmen going lunatic crazy over this, saying, people are calling me, stop it! Yeah, go ahead.
In any other national...
No.
No, I didn't think so.
No, because the Pope called them and said, don't do it. And the Muslim Brotherhood is benefiting from it. It was Obama's fault. Of course it's Obama's fault. Ever since Obamacare, we've been doing this. So yeah. By the way, if you go to their website today, you will still find, even though this happened some time ago, so this kind of stuff just lives on and on and on. Correlation is not causation. This is one of the things we find all the time in political coverage, is that something happens, something else happens, and we think they're somehow related. So, for example, I just want you to see that the number of people killed by venomous spiders runs pretty closely with the length of the words in the winning spelling bee word. So they seem to travel in the same track, as does divorce rate in Maine and the per capita consumption of margarine. They move pretty much the same. And the total U.S. crude imports and the per capita consumption of chicken also moves in very similar, because obviously they're connected. Well, this is interesting, isn't it? So why do crime rates go down or go up? Why do healthcare costs go down or go up? Why is it hot or cold or rainy or not rainy or whatever? Is there an absolute correlation, or is there a causation, or does it just happen to be a correlation? It's way too much chicken. This is my personal favorite. I collect, some people collect, shells. I collect videos of news stories where something is as addictive as heroin. I love this. So this
Be addicted to texting.
Yeah, believe it or not, texting triggers psychological responses in the brain very similar to what a drug or an alcohol addict feels, believe it or not. 10 News reporter Janie Porter, she's here with more. Janie, there is science behind this, other than just sounding bizarre.
Yeah, exactly. There sure is. Doctors say people who text constantly, especially teens, show the same brain functions as someone addicted to heroin.
Now wait a minute. I mean, let's just think about this just for a minute. Is there any chance that texting is as addictive as heroin? Do we have methadone clinics for texters? Not yet, but doctors say, and we see one person, a doctor, whose name is Dr. Smalley, I actually have called Dr. Smalley. He's at the University of Southern California Brain Center. And I said, Dr. Frank Smalley, have you ever said that texting is as addictive as heroin? And he said, no. And I said, well, what did you say? He said, what I said is that some people love to text and it lights up the part of their brain that releases dopamine. In the same way that drug addicts have a release of dopamine when they get a heroin high. Okay. Even though I'm still doubtful that you get the same release of dopamine from texting, maybe I'm just not texting right. Maybe I don't know. Texting is addicted as, listen, these are real headlines from real news sites. Oh, and it gets better. Fast food is also as addictive as heroin. That's probably true. Cupcakes are as addictive as cocaine. The world of Warcraft, I'll explain all that to you some other day. Gaming, power, that explains the Mitt Romney thing, right? Power does corrupt. High fructose corn syrup. Sunshine, that explains Florida, right? Yeah. Excessive exercise, which is why you ought to avoid that. Don't you think? All right. The last one I want to do in the last few minutes, and by the way, this is a real case that recently came up, and I just want to sort of get your thought about it. This is a Trump rally in South Carolina. And this was a photograph. Use a couple of adjectives to describe this photograph, this Trump rally. Crowd, full house. Yeah. Standing room only. It appears that way, right? All right. Here's another image. Now describe the second image of the same rally. Half full. Now here's the thing. I implored Robin to only have 55 seats here, so half of you would have to stand, and you'd go, oh my God, you wouldn't believe all the people that showed up out there, right? Because what happens is, you have too many seats, it makes it look like nobody showed up, right? In this case, they had a conference room, they had a pretty good size conference room, and somebody decided, oh, we may have even more people, and so they got a double conference room. And so, he had a really good turnout, but it didn't fill a double conference room. Nobody filled a double conference room in South Carolina that close to the election. It was too much. And Trump was livid about this photograph. Not only that photograph, but that one and that one too. Let's practice our questions. What do we know? What do we need to know? How do we know that? What do we know? Well, we know that's a real photograph and that it hasn't been altered according to its metadata. What do we need to know? Was that before? An hour before? 2 hours before? Was that during the session? When was that? How many chairs does that represent? Were all those people standing outside to greet it? No, 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 but my question is this a fair representation of anything? I would say